Welcome, everyone. I am Archangel. Sit back and fasten your seatbelts for the wonders you are about to behold. As a reminder, secure all loose items and keep your hands inside the ride at all times. Let's play Land of Make-Believe. Just pretend we have an environment of male demonization and vilification, an environment where the female wields superior life value and the masculine is labeled toxic, a paradigm that rewards females for existing, where chicks are alleviated of personal responsibility as we simultaneously squeeze males mercilessly for provision, protection, then turn around and demean and punish them for their oppressive existence. In such a social climate, one could reasonably assume that males are like buoys tossed randomly amidst tumultuous gyno-favoring surf, with no solid personal identity or value to cling to, except fulfilling the role of servant and martyr for the womenfolk. Yes? Are we all up to speed so far? I know. Men abused, women exalted? This is absolutely bass-ackwards crazy in our male-privileged existence. This scenario requires such an impossible stretch of the imagination to envision this female-elevating, male-devaluing place. But humor me. Now, in such a scenario, the favoring of female welfare over male welfare would rightfully be coined gynocentrism. Gyno meaning females, centrism meaning that which we center our priorities on or around. And subsequent to this gynocentrism, it would come as no surprise that the male masses rendered lesser in value might wander rudderless in value obsolescence, looking for identity and worth. Hence, the average garden variety male might clamor to historically romanticized masculine traits, seeking relevance in an environment that depreciates males. And many males might even vehemently exaggerate such features to hide the searing inner lack resultant from being devalued beings, shamed into serving the whims of adult toddlers stamping their feet. In other words, in an existence where you are marginalized, you search for an anchor of relevance, which usually takes the form of making yourself useful to the superior class. Thus, males cater and pamper females, the superior value class, to purchase relevance consideration from this life. However, being a subservient tool exacts an expensive toll on self-identity, and so males will over-exaggerate traits subsequent to masculine to cover the inner shame of being a devalued addict who grovels before females for acknowledgement and validation. Got it so far? We exalt females as better than males, so males are abandoned to wrestle with identity confusion and relevance antiquation. Now, males will predictably look to history for a time when males held more relevance and then emulate the behaviors, aesthetics, and ideologies of that time period in attempts to replicate relevance resurgence. This is the genesis for the tradcon's love affair with the 40s or 50s males, with their crew cuts, horn-rimmed glasses, and plain, no-frills attire. However, many males excessively embellish traits or rambunctious behaviors traditionally considered masculine, and this is hypermasculinity. The irony is that more often than not, badass Copenhagen-chewing, foul-mouthed, diesel truck-driving hyper-macho guys are actually suffering from hypomasculinity, using exaggerated behaviors to hide their emasculation and inferior worth as tools for female welfare and consumption. Look around and see guys that are loud, crude, loogie-spittin' sports fanatics that one-up any other male in their vicinity. And I get the striking impression that despite their carefully crafted hard exterior, they are not nail-spitting Vikings. They are vagina addicts who seek female permission just to buy seat covers for their car. Despite being a troublemaker at the bar, guys know how pathetic they really are behind closed doors, and being so weak and dependent is disheartening. Thus, most males compensate by outwardly acting overly macho and antagonizing other males as some sort of remedy to their pathetically cringeworthy spineless doormat existence of begging and pleading for female attention and taking orders from the wife. Hence, males take out their shame on other males. Observe for yourself. There is no respect for or idolization of masculinity. Rather, we are softened, emasculated servants and lapdogs to the collective feminine. back to our La La Land scenario. In such a super imaginary world, where female well-being is upheld by male disposability, we would not only hypothesize hypermasculinity, but expect hypermachismo as a remedy by the devalued, attempting to adopt some form of identity and dignity. Yet clearly it is all an act, a soothing mechanism by the depreciated male. You see, as a male, you do not have to act masculine. Masculinity is inherent in Y-chromosomed Homo sapiens. The misnomer here is mistaking secondary sexual characteristics with learned behaviors or appearances. Masculine, as it is commonly referenced, is a thought concept. A target group majority has certain appearance or behavior proclivities, which we in turn associate as qualities inherent in the group aggregate. In other words, if you're a Toyota, you do not have to do anything to convince everyone that you are a Toyota. It is what you are. However, others' opinions of what a Toyota should be may have you scrambling to look or behave a certain way. Masculine is a human construct of how any cohesive majority agrees that males should look or behave, and males faced with gynocentrism may turn to boisterous exaggeration to compensate for their inner worthlessness and the debilitating emasculation endured by these female validation addicts in society, in the home, in the workplace, everywhere. If you are a male post-puberty, you are masculine by default. Your secondary sexual characteristics, such as deeper voice and facial hair, denote masculinity by ever-changing social definition. However, hypermasculinity is exaggerated masculine concepts. It is the proselytization that males should be interested in sports and tools, that they should be short-haired and plain in appearance, that they should be loud, boisterous, aggressive towards other dudes. These are concepts people adopt as the definition of masculine. Indeed, some males act this way without pop culture influence. Others do not. However, taking all these conceptual behaviors or appearance paradigms, then magnifying them, this is hypermasculinity, which is value or identity compensation. Hypermasculinity, aka hypermachismo, is not genuine male behavior. It is a false front, like animals trying to puff up their fur or feathers, attempting to appear more substantial and intimidating than they are at rest. Hypermasculinity is all talk, no walk. It is all sizzle, no steak. It is peacocking to sway their own and others' perceptions of themselves. Essentially, in this imaginary world of female elevation, male devaluation, which would be appropriately labeled gynocentric, thus hypermasculinity would be expected by males trying to secure purchase and attention in an existence that does not favor them. So, what do you think about this imaginary world? I bet chicks would love it. Curious mental exercise, huh? But this is all conjecture, just make-believe. Yes? Because everybody knows we live in a male-favoring, female-oppressive reality, right? I mean, come on, it's all over our media and magazines. So, in a place that devalued males, you would expect to see males acting hyper-macho as a coping and soothing technique to deal with their devaluation, right? Well, just the other day, a guy said that he was scared by how aggressive and hypermasculine he becomes when he drinks. He expressed genuine surprise over his disposition to exaggerate masculinity when intoxicated. Gee, that's a curiosity in continuity with our hypothesized place. Okay, reality check, children. Open your eyes and watch male behaviors around you. When you really look at your environment, you will observe overwhelming polarity in behavior and appearance from males. Either they are soft, obedient, happy wife, happy life diaper bag carriers, or they are monster truck macho in public, who then carry diaper bags behind closed doors. Meaning that most human males either embrace the softness of feminism or the rugged man-up malarkey of conservatism as their conceptual template of masculinity. The aforementioned appearance and behavior polarity is just another symptom of gynocentrism. The same gynocentrism the world either denies as imaginary or justifies as the proper order of nature to preserve species continuity. Either way, it is gynocentrism which births male mistreatment, devaluation, and disposability, not ignorant self-occupied feminists. Take A good look around, not just your community, but immerse yourself in the broader culture facets sweeping the Western world, and you will see trends. You will observe hyper-masculinity on the rise, despite all the toxic masculinity lectures students are forced to endure on university campuses. I would suggest that the toxic masculinity that is one of the go-to social buzz phrases really refers to the hypermachismo males employ to address relevant estrangement, wherein guys act overly crude, callous, rough, stoic, boisterous, and exaggerate alpha competitiveness, aggression, and hostility towards fellow males in order to get attention and declare their heterosexual status to females. Masculinity is a grace. Hypermachismo is not. It is most likely the suspect in society's indictment of males as damaging and destructive. Hypermasculinity no more represents males than the neo-Nazis represent Caucasians. As males lose relevance, they exaggerate masculinity or act in outlandish ways to compensate and fish for attention. The classic rebel or bad boy is, on the one hand, males rejecting straitjacket constraints of polite society. Yet, on the other hand, it is also a compensatory bid to receive acknowledgement in a paradigm where they are disposable cogs. Inevitably, most males are made to conform to the soft, accommodating female butler expectations placed upon them. So, when they imbibe, polite public face fail-safes are overridden with alcohol, and males compensate for being simps by getting loud, grabbing their crotch, cussing, chest-thumping, and fighting other devalued males. This guy may have been confounded by his behavior, but it was elementary to me. Hypermasculinity is on the rise. Facial hair, beards, sports, males are trying to exaggerate any and all traditional markers or secondary characteristics of masculinity because males are so devalued in society. Again, quite often, when someone acts over the top in some fashion, they are compensating for an inner turmoil or lack. This is not simply a last few years phenomena. Males have been losing ground since the dawn of the 20th century, as technology and women's suffrage set up shop. Granted, guys have been born into a losing game, yet they have been hemorrhaging social relevance for a long time, and consequently turning to female servitude for exoneration. Look back over the decades. The collective male has experimented with different appearance and behavior parameters. They tried top hats and polite society for a while. Then some tried Tommy guns and gangster overcoats. Then they tried clean-cut, hard-working providers. Then they tried peace and tie-dye. They tried being soft and communicative disco dancers. Then we get the hairbands, wearing makeup, spandex, etc., trying to resemble female appearance, which failed to hold chicks' attention indefinitely, so guys went to grunge as a response. Grunge didn't cause women to respect males. Then guys tried hipster and nerdy personas. Then on to the soft dad bod male feminist, which was trendy for a few seconds, but chicks get bored and indecisive in 6 minutes or so. Now, guys are trying to rebuke the soft male in favor of reverting to primal masculinity in attempts to reinvent the traditionalist masculine wheel in their insatiable bid for female approval and relevance in gynocentrism. Sure, female styles have also changed over the years, but females have always known they hold the human life value cards, so their experimentation is for their own entertainment, whereas guys' schizophrenic persona adoption is born of the need to gain value in a paradigm that devalues them. For example, I currently see a reversion to facial hair as a declaration of masculinity by man-ape shovel doormats. Perhaps this is largely location-influenced. However, even amidst my travels, I have never seen so many beards in my life, and most of them are sported by male feminists and henpecked husbands, spineless manginas trying to hide behind illusions of tough lumberjack masculinity. I mean, come on, you see the beard, don't you? He is wild, savage, primal, tough, not his wife's lapdog. Now, the larger markers of hyper-masculinity are making themselves known in common everyday sober males, who are also enacting machismo to compensate for their inner doormat. They simply do it in other ways, from the loud-mouthed raucous drunk at the bar. They grow beards, get tattooed, wear flannel, go crazy every time sports is mentioned. They talk about sex as often and as rambunctiously as possible. They disparage soft, foo-foo stuff like Starbucks Frappuccinos or satin sheets, facial moisturizers, or pedicures. They choose rough, plain, non-flamboyant clothes and short hair. All these things, guys are currently trying on the collective feminine to get approval. They know females have social power, and they are trying to appeal to today's females, with some cross of 50s clean-cut gentleman and burly, hairy, inked-up Neanderthal lumberjack. Meanwhile, the rest of the castrated female-addicted male populace simply vetoes subterfuge and presents themselves as the jellyfish that they are. Male feminists don't even try to pretend. They just follow females around like puppies begging for a pat on the head. Take a moment to reflect. Seriously, can you not see how schizophrenic males have become? They are trying everything to see what the collective feminine approves of at the moment, and this has been going on for centuries. Guys bounce all over the persona stage, seeking female approval in any given time or environment. Many moons ago, we had men in tights and powdered wigs. Then we got guys in dusty 10-gallon hats and six-shooters. Then on to proper males in top hats and waxed mustaches. Then to trouser and crew-cut males. Next to long-haired hippies. Then to hairy-chested, emotionally accessible disco aficionados. Then to make-up hair rock and power ballads of love. To rebellious, melancholy grunge and increases in tattooing and piercings for anti-establishment shock value. To hipster and tech-savvy nerds. To beards and diesel crew cab pickups everywhere. Dudes throughout the ages have been jumping all over the board, trying to ascertain what will get them the most female approval in ever-shifting social climates. When masculinity changes with the times, this tells you it is a thought concept, not an organic manifestation of possessing a Y chromosome. And with guys losing further relevance, they are trying to compensate by switching it up again. Now, they are trying to appeal to primal animalistic instincts of females, who complain about a lack of manly, chivalrous men today. So, not surprisingly, the spineless jellyfish are growing out their facial hair to mimic the super tough bearded Viking protector. Ladies, here I am. See my facial fur. It means I'm big and tough. That's what you want, right? No? Well, I can totally change. Yes, granted there is a degree of personal experimentation independent of validation solicitation, an element of males rebelling against their parents' generation, including appearance, culture, and behavior norms. But seriously, fashion and appearance trends live or die by what either sex of the time or culture approve of. Everywhere I look, I observe sober manifestations of traditional masculine overzealotry by jellyfish trying to reconcile self-worth deficiency with prostration before the feminine altar. And when guys are drunk, they get crude and fight with other devalued males in a sad attempt to establish some alpha hierarchy amongst a group who are all betas, human betas. Because females have superior life worth, males solicit females. Thus, females call the shots as males jump through flaming hoops, meaning females are alpha amongst the species. Females are human alphas. So, you have drunk tools fighting drunk tools. It is so sad. Now, indeed, I am painting with a large brush here. Not all appearance or behavior similar males are doormats, overcompensating for inner lack. Not all bearded truck and sports lovers are diaper bag carrying white knight vagina slaves. But most are. Yes, many males adopt certain appearance or behavioral proclivities independent of gynocentrism. I am not addressing the organic tastes of males for personal appearance. I am addressing the over-exaggeration of beards or tattoos or gratuitous crude sex talk. It is the overly macho preoccupation with sports, the excessive chest-thumping and mad-dogging of other males. It is the over-the-top machismo you can see taking place in any bar, especially college bars, every night of the week, where guys exaggerate displays of toughness and dominance, which, to the awakened mind, betrays the fallacy of their persona. They are not in-charge masculine Adonises. They are vulva-whipped manginas, compensating, much like guys with micro-penises driving skyscraper mega-cab trucks. I have seen more bearded, flannel-wearing, tatted-up, sports-loving males who were henpecked, validation-addicted slaves than not. And I have seen more simps hiding amongst veins that most consider masculine. Military, sports, construction workers, bikers, bodybuilders, powerlifters, fighters, gangs. Pathetic male doormats infest all these institutions which churn out males exaggerating machismo. Masculinity, much like femininity, can be defined as the appearance and behaviors the majority of a sex demonstrates, if left to develop naturally, meaning they are free of social coercion. Due to gynocentrically fueled male devaluation in modernity, where females seek supremacy over males, and with the help of their mangina white knight minions, they have achieved rights, entitlements, and pleasantries over males. And so males flounder amidst seeming obsolescence. So they are reverting to traditional paradigms to reclaim relevance, and thus hypermasculinity is on the rise. And again, hypermasculinity is the exaggerated enactment of behaviors considered traditionally masculine, which is different from the chest-thumping demonstrations of alpha hierarchical competition. You see, when one male submits another to them, or wins a competition over another male, whether for mating rights or a ball game, the victor's confidence and testosterone surges, resulting in subconscious, instinctual, cocky behaviors or displays of dominance. Whereas hypermasculinity is orchestrated theater. It is purposefully embellishing and capitalizing on characteristics considered masculine in order to sway others' opinions. One display is instinctual, the other is calculated manipulation. One is programmed animalistic response to competition. The other is artificial inflation of appearance or behavior to receive enrichment, usually in the form of respect or attention from chicks. How is nobody seeing this hypermasculinity, this hypermachismo, as an obvious symptom of gynocentrism? Hello, males are devalued to the point of disposable tools. They are mocked, vilified, and disparaged by everyone. They are privy to inequity in social and legal treatment. They are ubiquitously persecuted as villainous. Meanwhile, we divorce females of responsibility for nefarity. Males, on some level, register how emasculated and demonized their sex has become. How everyone defers to females for approval. They experience the softening of musculature and reputation. Guys are so assaulted with blame and contempt everywhere they turn, so depreciated everywhere in this world that they have no real semblance of worth. Hypermasculinity is a band-aid as males try to reinvent past appearance and proclivities to resuscitate masculinity and kickstart worth. So they grow beards and take to watching sports, even acting slightly homophobic in attempts to resolve their inner turmoil as doormat weaklings devoid of self-respect or worth as a simple human being. Hypermasculinity is a subconscious admission by males who understand the groveling, pathetic behaviors and spectacles they put on just to get female attention, and on some level, they actually cringe at what they are. You know the type. They walk down the hall with their arms flared out. They talk sex and sports as much as possible. They are outspoken about anything fruity, foo-foo, or gay. They stare down other dudes. And then, when the wife or girlfriend calls, they jump up and take the call out of the room or around the corner, so you will not hear how groveling, pathetic, spineless, and weak they are as they take orders and beg permission from the boss. Yet, back in the company of the fellas, they resume the tough, dominant act once again. All this results from male devaluation and their attempts to remain relevant to a class that seeks supremacy over them. Hypermachismo is all resultant from value disenfranchisement. If you are the gold and you hold all the value cards, you need not overact or prove anything to anyone. You are the center of worth. What you do, others will imitate. However, if you are outside that circle of value, then you do exaggerate anything and everything just to get noticed and hopefully utilized by the value-rich class. I have seen the same scenario play out over and over. Males in high school will try being sensitive modern males to get close and gain acceptance from girls. And when they are disillusioned by the friend or nice guy syndrome, they find their way to the gym to try building their strength and size in attempts to try another route to female attention as a traditional, physically powerful, imposing male, which they hope will trigger females' instincts, and they will get female attention and validation in this fashion. I see it all the time. Males searching for relevance through weights, and the hypothesis that physical size and strength will give them respect from others and adoration from females. I understand this, for it is the very reasoning that drove a blue pill archangel into the gym. Now, I do it for me. Furthermore, it would seem that searching for relevance through attention whoring is why many males have taken to ink like fish take to water. These guys are trying to elicit a bad boy rebel attraction that females will equate with primal desire. But the ominous, gratuitous use of tattoos hides nothing. Most are Vagisil-filled dudes with colorful sleeves. Oh sure, they have skulls all over their body as some sort of visual proxy for the toughness they internally lack. In relation to body art, I have noticed another curiosity with males. It has become fashion for males to inscribe their kids' names on themselves, which, it would seem, is an attempt to memorialize their value. You see, the world says males are worth less and disposable, and so they tattoo their kids' names on themselves as a declaration to the world. Here, see, this is my relevance. This is the worth I have contributed to the world. Okay, yes, guys can look or act any way they desire. However, the exaggeration of secondary sexual characteristics, or the sudden reversion to traditional conservatism, or any number of appearance musical chairs males play to receive attention, this all reveals males' inner turmoil over being disposable second-class citizens to the all-powerful, all-benevolent, all-beautiful angelic female sex. But my friends, here is the secret. You hold the value cards. You are creators. You are the prize. You need exaggerate nothing. You are the only relevance. Get off your knees and take back your power from females and the collective feminine. Devaluation of males ends when males say it does. When males unite and say, that's it, we've had enough of females' misandry and hypergamy. We've had enough male-on-male brutality for females' mate selection consideration. We are tired of being slaves to our basal desires. Look where it has landed us. Prostrated before stilettos, lapping up any blame, shame, contempt, or marching orders they bark out, simply to get approval. We've had enough malicious tarnishing of our amazing chromosome. We've had enough. A sweet text or 3 seconds of female-assisted ejaculation is not worth our welfare, well-being, or self-worth. That's it. We've had it. It ends now. And if enough males enlisted, then just like that, society would change overnight. Yes, gynocentrism would rage on as nature's paradigm of existence. Yet human males would refuse ill treatment, and females would be put in their place. And perhaps for the first time, females might have to compete for male attention and approval, since in reality, males are the prize. Gentlemen, you are the source of value. All this jumping through hoops to get attention from females. This is all made up. It is a game you play with yourselves and libidos. It is all fantasy. You do not have depreciated worth. You have unrivaled worth. The world runs because of you. Stop serving women. Stop abusing fellow men. And once you take back your power and personal worth, your hypermachismo, your need to exaggerate masculine, will fall away naturally as you ascend to a higher plane of masculinity, where you actually wield power, and there is no longer need for forced concocted appearance or behaviors. The you, as a truly empowered male, is an experience you cannot rival with all the fake knuckle knocks and skirt chasing in the world. Hypermasculinity is a compensatory tactic that truly awakened, empowered males no longer need. My friends, you are the prize. Stand with me, live free.